walang nakukutan sa inyo mata nabubuisit man ako.
Yusek, how does the palace or how does the president view these moves by Congressman Barzaga? He said he would file an impeachment. He called for people power to oust the president. He called for the president's resignation. While the congressman's ways may be unconventional, he is certainly getting a lot of attention. Is Malacanang paying attention?
Sa panahon ngayon na marami pong ginagawa ang Pangulo, hindi po pinapansin ang mga ganyang klaseng usapin. Busy ang Pangulo sa pagtulong sa mga kababayan natin, maraming trabaho para maiangat pa ang Pilipinas, hindi para iba pa ang dignidad ng ating bansa.
But again, is the president paying attention to Congressman Barzaga?
Just a smile.
Not just a smile.
Next question.
Paano just a smile? Diba gumagalaw na nga yung mga galamay ng Malacanang diyan sa House of Representatives, ha? Meron na akong ethics complaint laban dito kay Congressman Kiko Barzaga. Pero naman sabihin na hindi pa gumagalaw, just a smile. Ibig sabihin ng smile na yun, tinarog natin, matatanggal na yan sa pwesto. Pero lang naman mga
Question is from Katrina Domingo, ABS-CBN.
Ma'am, do we already...
Alright, you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Look, with the push of a button, this laptop's display can go from 14 inches to 16 inches. This is the Lenovo ThinkBook Plus Gen 6 rollable laptop. And it's very different from other laptops out there because the display actually extends upwards. The aspect ratio is a little bit different. Either way, this is like a regular laptop with an extendable display. You have your Intel processor inside of here. It's a Lunar Lake CPU, so really good battery life. The port situation is kind of lacking. There's only 2 USB Type-C ports. I'm glad they included a very small GAN charger. The display technology itself is obviously OLED. It has good pixel density and obviously color reproduction. And the overall keyboard feels fantastic to use along with a haptic touchpad. Now I'm going to be reviewing this thing, so make sure to drop any questions that you might have.
When this guy went to this restaurant, he placed this
Ma'am, do we already have an updated number kung ilan na po yung complaints or letters na na-submit sa Sumbong sa Pangulo website since it was open to the public?
Ever since Dying Light the Beast dropped 5 days ago, I've been playing it non-stop. I fell in love with the first game, and while the second had its flaws, it was still a good time. I've always loved zombie stories, The Walking Dead, Resident Evil, you name it, and Dying Light has always scratched that itch. Techland, the Polish studio behind the series, had a lot riding on this release. Dying Light 1 didn't wow critics, but players embraced it and it became a commercial success. Dying Light 2, on the other hand, didn't live up to the hype, and the Beast actually began life as a planned DLC. So naturally, skepticism was high. Would it just feel like an overpriced DLC, a reskinned version of Dying Light 2, or had the formula finally lost its spark? I'm happy to say that for me, the Beast, hit every point I wanted it to. But it also represents something bigger, a rare moment where a game studio actually listened to its fans. I know, crazy, right? We've seen Bethesda snap back at criticism of Starfield, telling players that they're just playing it wrong. We've seen BioWare abandon the formula their fans love with Dragon Age, essentially telling their old audience to get with the times. Nintendo keeps raising prices and even selling physical games without actual physical content. Ubisoft is telling players to get used to not owning the games they buy, and Randy Pitchford, the creator of Borderlands 4, dismissed fan frustration by flat out saying they're wrong. Time and time again, AAA studios treat their fans like a cash cow. The customer is no longer always right. In fact, in their eyes, the customer is almost always wrong. But Techland broke that trend with The Beast. This is now the highest rated game in the Dying Light series, and the reason is simple. They listened to their community. They took feedback, learned from setbacks, and built on what fans actually wanted. And they've been rewarded for it with success that many of these other AAA studios can only dream of. So in this video, I'll cover the history of Dying Light, what Techland got right with The Beast, and why it shows a genuine respect for fans. I'll also contrast that with studios who do the opposite, and explain why The Beast might just make a real shift in gaming. And hey, if you're new here and enjoy this video, please consider subscribing. Dying Light 1 released in 2015 and it had a unique formula. An open world full of zombies, packed with side quests, activities, and a heavy focus on parkour. Both its combat and parkour style were sleek and responsive, which made the game not only good, but unique. We had seen previous open world zombie games like Dead Island, but never a mix quite like this. It also nailed its atmosphere with a day and night cycle, with the latter being not only scary, but incredibly dangerous, and volatiles chasing you relentlessly. People loved Dying Light because it perfectly blended fast fluid parkour traversal with tense survival focused combat. It wasn't flawless, but it delivered a unique mix of freedom, atmosphere and fun that clicked with players in a way that other games hadn't. Although critics graded it as okay with a 74 score, it was really a hit with the players and was both a commercial success and a fan favourite. Its main DLC, The Following, expanded the formula by opening up the world with wide rural environments, adding vehicles for traversal and combat, and delivering a darker, more ambitious story that raised the stakes beyond the base game. The writing was better, the world was larger, and the addition of vehicles enhanced the experience. This DLC went on to score incredibly well and is well known as being one of the greatest DLCs of all time. Dying Light 2 released in 2022, and despite appearing on the surface to be an improvement overall, it kind of didn't reach the heights. Now on paper, it was better. The open world was bigger, there were more quests, decision making was added, there were multiple ways to travel the map. It was essentially Dying Light 1, but just bigger and better. Yet it disappointed many fans of the first game because despite being bigger on paper, it lost much of the magic that made the original special. The massive map often felt empty and repetitive, with activities lacking the variety and density that players loved in the first game. The new stamina system frustrated players by limiting parkour freedom, making traversal feel less fluid. The story, which was hyped as a branching narrative with meaningful choices, ended up feeling flat and forgettable, with weaker writing and unmemorable characters, and the nighttime, which had been so deadly in the previous game, felt far too tame and safe. To make matters worse, the game launched with technical issues and bugs that further hurt the experience. For fans that loved the tension, atmosphere, and tight gameplay loop of the first game, Dying Light 2 felt bloated, less focused, and ultimately less impactful. That being said, the game scored well enough and it was a commercial success, but this was definitely a worry for the studio Techland. Critics often complained, saying it's just more of the same without adding enough new elements to make it stand out from its predecessor. The studio were at a point where their next entry, if it was received poorly, could mark the end of the series. It was announced that Dying Light the Beast would be the next installment. It was originally planned as a story DLC for Dying Light 2, but in 2023, major story details leaked online, forcing Techland to rethink the project. Instead of releasing spoiled content as a small add-on, the team decided to expand it into a full standalone game. This shift wasn't just about the leak. The developers became more ambitious, ideas began flowing, and the concept quickly outgrew a DLC scope. With inspiration from veterans who had worked on Dying Light 1 and The Following, the project exploded into something much bigger. It became, essentially, Dying Light 3. And boy, did they deliver. Having played it almost to completion, I feel this is the best entry in the franchise, and critics agree. What began as a side expansion ultimately became the highest rated game in the series. So how did they do this? Well, they listened to their fans. Techland built Dying Light the Beast by taking the best parts of the series and fixing what didn't work. From the first Dying Light, they kept the raw survival horror, the tense nights, and smooth parkour. From The Following, they brought back vehicles and a larger, more open world. And from Dying Light 2, they listened to criticism, cutting the bloated map, removing the stamina gauge for climbing, making nights terrifying again, and ditching fetch quest side content. They even addressed story complaints by bringing back fan favourite Kyle Crane and delivering a tighter, more focused narrative. They took the strengths from each, including Dying Light 2, and put them together and then improved on them. They heard the criticism on some aspects and removed them completely. The result is the best of all worlds and the best entry in the series. Now, on paper, this sounds easy, right? It's not exactly rocket science, but believe it or not, most AAA studios can't do this. The first mistake many developers make is that they chase trends or mass appeal. An example of this would be the Resident Evil franchise. The first 4 entries from that series were survival horror through and through. They were scary, gory, dark, and had you on the edge of your seat. They were horror games. Then 2009's Resident Evil 5 changed this instead, introducing a co-op action-focused experience. Zombies now had guns. The sequel, Resident Evil 6, took the action element even further, adding in run-and-gun mechanics, action set pieces, wall crawling, and excessive quick-time events. These 2 games were completely unrecognizable to the previous
Alright, here we go. Checking out Dying Like the Beast, the full game, by the way. Let me tell you, I'm getting chills just thinking about playing this game right now. I don't know if it's because Kyle Crane's returning, or if it's like the last of a dying breed as far as these types of games just don't exist anymore. The Last of Us, Days Gone, Dying Light, Far Cry 5. You don't see these types of games anymore. Meant a lot to me. I want to ask you what's always picked, but felt like a zombie game. I wanted to ask that question, right? But anyways, fam, love you all. Let's go and get this.
My name is Kyle Crane. This was devastating. They can stop the spread and save the world to the virus, but our fate was worse.
If he finds out,
Can I break this? No. Gotta be a different way around then. No way. I took a little damage, but it's all good. I'm gonna stay up. Yeah, this will work. Oh, God. Bada bullets, okay. Wasn't hitting many shots anyway, so it's all good. I don't like this. I need to heal up, but I'm gonna like. Maybe this right here. Give me a little bit. I'll take it. Eat the energy bar. Alright, we're good. For now. Investigation area. Hold on, before we go in there, what is this?
Fuck. attack the town hall. It's not a chimera.
I'm actually gonna stop you for now. Thank you all for watching though, man. This, like, stuff like that. Hey, it's like, last. Alright, we're back with part 2 of Dying.
Wala na pati kuryente. Oh my God. Lord. Palagi ko kusog pag yun ni. Yung pila pa ni Kadis. Uy, kusog pa ang tayo ubo. Sila Dudong wala dito sa Pikas Balay.
Ang gawas sila tanan.
Ayun, nagsulod pa. Kaya wala pa naman pa, oh.
Di, check.
Aftershock pa, oh.
Check na ako dere.
Saka kusog sa...
729 ang naitala po na complaint. At bukas po siguro mas magkakaroon po kami ng detalyadong report. Kung ano na po ang nangyayari at ano na po ang nasusolusyonan, kung ano na po yung nagkakaroon ng mga action.
Next question.
Follow-up question, sorry. Until when po mananatiling open yung sumbong sa Pangulo? Until the end of the President's term, or will there be a sort of a cap to close the website and focus first on what has been reported?
Tingnan po natin. Kasi kapag ka po naman wala ng report at natapos na at wala nang pumapasok, maaari na po siguro ito isa na.
Next question is from Ann Soberano, Momorajo.
Yusek, good afternoon. Yusek, reaction lang ng Malacanang o ni Pangulong Marcos sa first ever joint activity between Philippine and Japanese militaries sa ilalim po ng Reciprocal Access Agreement. Ongoing po ngayon ang Doshin Bayanihan 525. Ito ay isang combined exercise between the two countries. Ayon sa National Security Council, ang nasabing inaugural activity ay isang strategic milestone in the operationalization ng RAA.
Yan din po ang
Pinahirapan niyo pa yun itong si ate. Pinahirapan niyo pa sa pagtatanong itong si ate. Ang haba naman ng panahon na yun, ate. Next time, bigyan niyo lang ha.
talaga po ng Pangulo. Magkaroon ng reaffirmation ng ating commitment sa stability, peace, and cooperation dito po sa Indo-Pacific. At hindi lang po ito ang nagpapalakas ng depensa, kundi
Sa Kamara po, mayroong resolusyon na nagpapa-investiga sa tinawag na haunted hospitals ng DOH. At sa Senado naman, yun ni Senator Gatchalian yung higit 10 billion pesos na naluging po nila sa gobyerno dahil sa overpricing ng farm-to-market goods ng DA. Isasama na po ba ito sa iniimbestigahan ng ICI?
kapag naman may mga dokumento, maaari naman po ito ibigay agad sa ICI para kung sino po yung mga concern ng mga tao dito at involved, ay maaari po agad na itatawag para magkaroon ng mas mabilis sa pag-iimbestiga.
Pwede po itong isabay dun sa ongoing investigation?
Yes, ako. Ano po naman ang infrastructure na siya na
Grabe na talaga. Palo-palo mo sila sa atin sa pagsama doon sa issue ng farm to market. Kasi yung talaga mas kailangan nila ngayon ng farm to market. Pahulunan yung issue kasi ito hindi natin maikumita ng panahon natin dito. Diba? Nagkakaroon sa ito na marami ang farm to market role. Ha? Saan ko? Kasi ito
projects ng ating po.